Dinner and a Book is supported by the Rex and Alice A. Martin Foundation of Elkhart, celebrating the spirit of Alice Martin and her love of good food and good friends.
In the book, Thicker Than Water, Kerry Washington gives readers an intimate view into her extraordinary life as artist, advocate, and trailblazer. With grace and honesty, she faces a journey of childhood traumas as she met mentors who helped her grow her career while helping her self-esteem. But there were some roadblocks along the way. Let's meet my guest, Charlotte Pfeiffer, to discuss Kerry Washington's book, Thicker Than Water. Welcome, Charlotte.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. I'm so glad you're here, and we're going to talk about good food and how to take care of ourselves,
Yes,
right?
and health, and this wonderful actress, Kerry Washington, who is so multi-talented.
She is multi-talented. And how did you find this book?
Well, I like watching book reviews, and I was watching different book reviews, so I went down to the library to get another book, and it was out, so I said, well, do you have Kerry Washington's book? And they did, and I took it home and I just
read it
couldn't.
all at once?
I did. I just couldn't
Yes.
believe how relatable it was.
Well, Kerry Washington, you know, was the lead in 6 or 7 seasons of Scandal.
Yes.
And I never got to watch that.
I did.
And I might just be able to see that now when I'm through with all this taping. It's a very interesting book, and it can, her life experience can happen to many people.
Yes.
And Kerry is a gorgeous woman. She was smart. I've lived in D.C. for the last 2 years, and we always went to George Washington University for
Yes.
our grandchildren's programs.
Yes.
So I knew she was in a good place. So we talk about roadblocks. She really indicated some important things in her life as she went from one period to the next. And she found herself in this world of celebrity.
Yes, in fact, that's what saved her. She always knew there was something, she's an only child, and that's the whole theme of the book, how it is she became an only child. But she always knew there was something amiss in
her
the family,
family.
and acting was her salvation, acting and swimming.
Well, she could act other people's stories,
Yes.
pulling from her own experiences. And
Yes.
I found there was a lot of interesting information on how to be an actor
Yes.
in this book.
In fact, she immersed herself in the characters, which helped her not have to deal with her own personal life.
Yes. Well, you know, how many of us might have
Might
to do that now and then in
that's
our
true.
life?
That's very true.
And she had a lot of people that helped her.
Yes.
But you really like this book. Why is it important to you?
There are several themes. Number one, she had the perfect family from the outside, and I can relate to that. Inside, there was turmoil. Her father was an alcoholic. They had a secret, and
Yes.
and a lot of families have secrets, and so when there's a secret, there's always another person in the room,
Right.
right?
That's
Unspoken.
it. The secret person who
Yeah.
is there
Yeah.
floating around in all
Yes.
the discussions that
And
go
then
on.
she came from an immigrant, she lived in an immigrant community because her mother was West Indian, and they lived in a West Indian community. And in order to try to fill that space, she tried to be perfect,
Right.
including having some eating problems.
Well, and that's a problem that a lot of girls have.
Yes.
There's so much stress on looking perfect and acting perfectly and this sort of thing.
Yes.
Too much stress.
Yes.
Go out and run. Get
Yes.
on the track team.
Yes.
You know, do something that doesn't require that you look beautiful
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
And that's the way you grow strong girls.
Yes.
And I think sports in schools are so important for
Oh,
girls.
especially for girls. And you know, we had to have legislation to make sure there was equal, because you know, even she's old enough to have grown up when girls were supposed to really kind of get married, have children, and take care of the home.
Be perfect, be a cheerleader. Yes, like that.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about some food too that we want to prepare.
Yes.
And tell us why we've chosen this diet.
Well, one of the ways that Kerry Washington tried to be perfect, and a lot of women and men can relate to this, is trying to control what you eat. So what she would do is she would binge eat, out of control eating, and her response to that was then to starve and to excessive exercising. And a lot of people in the world, but especially in this country, we have a real problem with eating and dieting and being thin and body shaming and all that kind of thing,
Yes.
which I can relate to. I've had challenges with eating my whole life, so I related to that. She was very smart. That was another way that she tried to be perfect. I can relate to that. And I can relate to being the girl in a community of boys,
Yes.
and being just as good at them as they were, but not, you know,
Not too smart.
not too
'cause they
smart.
won't like you.
And then she had problems sleeping. She thought there's something going on at night while I'm sleeping, and she later on found that out. But the big one, of course, was, you know, nowadays everyone wants to know their roots.
Yes.
Where do you come from? Your DNA, you know, there's all these things. And when she went to do that, she had a big shock.
She had a big shock, and I think we better start our food, or we'll have a big shock.
Okay, and now she finally found out how not to binge, starve, and exercise,
Good.
but how to be healthy.
She had some mentors.
Yes, and that's what we're
All
doing.
right, now tell us what you're going to be doing here.
We're going to, so one of the ways we're going to have low oil.
All right.
And the only oil we're using is virgin olive oil, which a lot of people told as excellent. So I'm cooking with low salt, no salt vegetable
This is the
broth.
best if you really want to.
Yes,
And
yes.
lose weight.
Yes.
I don't mean to make this as something.
Yeah.
You know, we're here on it.
And in a healthy way, lose weight healthily.
Use vegetable broth instead of even spray,
Yes.
Pam.
And all kinds of spices, garlic, curry, chipotle seasoning, and we're going to use tofu and aduki beans, which is your protein. We're going to have a salad and vegetables.
Yes.
We're going to eat these beautiful Japanese yams.
Can't wait.
They're just beautiful. Cook them in the microwave, 5 minutes on one side, turn it over, and then for dessert, fruit.
Fruit. And really, this is a healthy way to eat, and the people that grow up in countries eating this way are usually pretty trim and athletic.
And everyone wants something to drink. What's healthy? We're going to have oolong tea, which is a black tea, and we're going to mix it with chai.
Oh, we
and
better
you don't
get
need
cooking
sugar
here, don't you
Okay.
think?
Yes.
Are you going to put that yam in first, or?
Well, I'm going to turn my fire on.
All right, you're going to fire
and
up.
get the broth going.
And I'm going to keep chopping here because we're going to put these on a pan
So I want
and
to get that going.
put them in the oven.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on this. And then with these Japanese yams, you always want to wash them. Okay?
Yes.
So I'm going to wash it off.
You're going to start again washing. We've got to
Yep.
make sure these
Wash it real
vegetables
good.
are clean, because that's another episode in our food
Cut
cycle.
off the ends, and I also kind of stabbed it a little bit to ventilate it.
To ventilate it.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to put it in the microwave 6 minutes on one side and then turn it over 6 minutes the other.
All right, there's
so
that
here
goes
we
with
are.
the yam. And what I'm doing is what you see in so many magazines and cookbooks today. Do a sheet pan roast vegetables. So I'm adding all kinds of vegetables and onions, chopped onions, broccoli, little potatoes, green beans, carrots, Brussels sprouts, and then we will roast this in the oven for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes I put it to 420. Now you're putting
And look at
beans.
these beautiful red beans.
What are those beans called?
They're aduki beans, but they're Aduki, but they're actually small kidney beans.
And are they Japanese?
No, well, I don't know.
Aduki? No. Well,
That
in
sounds
any
like
case-
it, doesn't it?
In any case, they're small.
Yeah, that's
Kidney
true. They're
beans.
small, and they're red, So that means they have that great pigment. And then so my broth is bubbling, so I'm going to turn it down to low.
Oh, there you are. You're way low.
Oh,
We're
too
all,
low?
we always have to
I
adjust
have to keep
this.
my eye on this.
It's like cooking at a campfire.
Yep. Okay, then I'm going to put my seasonings in.
All right, go for it. While I finish chopping, and I'll get these in the oven. And then I've got green beans too. I like French green beans because they're not tough at all. Sometimes these American green beans are pretty tough.
And look at how beautiful all that is. And so Kerry Washington, after struggling with weight all her life,
Kerry, yeah.
even in college, even when she became a very famous actress,
She still had this.
she still had
She's
it.
always wanting to be perfect.
Yes.
And so it just is a point where you have to look at yourself and say, what is it that I want in life? Should I be perfect? So many of the perfect girls had trouble later on in life. Your
That's
life's
right.
not over when you're 18.
No, it's
There's
not.
a lot more to come. And it's better spent doing sports and studying and learning about the world and life.
Yep.
Instead of worrying about how your hair looks.
And you know, nowadays people are living to be 100
I noticed that.
easily.
We are going to take a pause here while you're cooking the tofu. How long are you going to cook that?
I'm going to just kind of let it get colorful.
Okay, colorful. And
Yeah,
it's
so
with
I'd
the
say
bean.
10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to take a very quick pause here and reorganize some things, and then we will be right back to discuss Thicker Than Water by Kerry Washington, and my guest is Charlotte Pfeiffer. We'll be right back. And our book is Thicker Than Water. I'm here with Charlotte Pfeiffer, and the person that we're featuring, of course, is Kerry Washington. Their book is Thicker Than Water. What is this water theme all of a sudden?
And you know, it's all through the book.
Yes.
Her parents met swimming. When she was growing up in the Bronx in their apartment complex, they had a pool.
Yeah.
She and her father swam in deep water. And then she named her book that blood is thicker than water, but love is thicker than blood.
There you go. Got to think about that. Okay, and you're getting your...
Yeah, so what people always wonder when you're eating healthily, where do you
What does
get
it
your
look-
protein?
Yes,
and here I have
what does it look
tofu
like?
and small kidney beans, which are called aduki beans. And they are cooked in broth.
In broth?
Low salt broth.
And have you added any spices?
I put all kinds of spice. I put curry, I put garlic, I put, also, don't forget, you can put this liquid amino acids,
Yes.
which is like a soy sauce. And I'm going to dust it off, once it's cooked, curry.
I love
You can't
curry.
beat curry, and curry's good for you.
While you're doing that, I'm putting in a little bit of garlic, and then I will add some olive oil. Now, to be a true, let's say, vegan, you would use your chicken broth that you have, and not
Vegetable
even
broth.
vegetable.
Yes.
What did I say?
Chicken.
No,
Yeah.
chicken. But
And
I'm
gonna
using
get the
olive
I'm gonna
oil.
get the Japanese
You're getting your yam out?
out.
All right, and I'm going to put this in. And these are kind of, the kind of vegetables take a while to cook. So normally you cook them from 12 to 15 minutes. Keep an eye on them. Some people like them darker, some people like them more crisp. We're going to put these in. At 12 minutes we'll check. We don't want them mushy. We want
no.
them a little bit crisp. So it's the kind of food you don't walk out of the kitchen and decide to go to your neighbors for a chat.
No.
You've got to stay with that one.
And today, with today's busy world, how can you eat healthy and fast? And this can all be done in 20 minutes, maybe
well,
30.
Here you go. Maybe. Look at this yam.
Yeah,
now.
look at this beautiful yam. I'm going to cut it open and just show you how beautiful it is. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, it is.
Look at that.
Oh, gosh.
See? And it can feed a couple of people.
Now, where did you buy this?
I bought it at, you can buy it at any health store. I got it at Whole Foods, but you can buy it at a farmer's market, Trader Joe's, any kind of
And you can
health.
add any kind of spice
Anything you want. And so now here you've got Japanese yam, tofu, dookie beans. This is going to be our main course.
Now, do you put anything on top of the yam?
If you want to, you can put hummus.
Hummus?
You can put avocado.
Oh, that would be good.
Yes,
wouldn't it?
avocado
Yes.
with cut up tomato. Anything you want.
You can doctor it up to
Yes,
your
you can.
taste.
Yes, yes.
I have just added here the kind of bread that we always are looking for, but never seem to find, at least where I live. Can't find a loaf of hard bread, you know, the kind you get in
Yes.
Europe.
Yes.
And you say to
go to Mama Mia's.
Yes.
Right by the farmer's market in South Bend.
All right,
and
Mom.
it's called elder bread.
Oh,
so
elder
remember your grandparents. Elder bread.
And if you like that kind where you have to kind of poke at the
Yeah, and
crust.
it's dark.
And it's dark.
Nice
Oh,
crust.
it's the
yummy.
best thing.
You can spread anything on it or just eat it. It's
This is the
delicious.
closest I came to that kind of bread, but I know South Bend has more bread makers. So when I'm in South Bend, I do stop and buy bread. Now tell us the next thing
Okay,
you're doing.
so you have to have dessert.
We do, and remember,
Fruit.
we are being healthy.
And so they found out that strawberries are a wonderful dessert. And you can get it frozen, so you can have it year round, and you can get organic. Strawberries, you always want to buy organic because of the pesticides.
Pesticides.
So I'm just going to put these
the thing
beautiful.
we worry about the most.
And you want all that delicious broth. And by the way, if you want to, you can put some tofu, or you could put some yogurt.
oh, yogurt would be good,
So
or
I've got
honey.
Honey. Well, you don't want to put
Too much.
Actually, they're sweet enough.
Oh, okay.
So look at these beautiful strawberries. So I'm going to have them with all their broth. And then I thought I'd bring mango.
Yes. Do you ever have? Oh, that looks so
Isn't that beautiful?
good.
And you've got to have blueberries.
Blueberries, they're the best, aren't
Yes,
they?
yes. And see, if you notice all the color
I notice all the juice too.
and the juice.
And this would be nice in a clear bowl, wouldn't
Oh,
it?
yes,
But I
it
didn't
would be.
have one
It
here.
would, yes.
Yes. Now
Yes.
we've got the healthiest meal that you can imagine.
Yes.
What do we have going on over in the cups?
Well, we're going to top it off with our oolong tea.
All right.
So let's
You've got tea bags in one in
Okay,
each.
that's how you do. Yep.
Yep. And
So I'm
so
just going to go over here and make sure I don't make a mess.
yes, she has not left the set. She is here.
I'm here.
Yes.
I'm pouring
And
the
she's
water.
pouring water, and we're having oolong tea, aren't
Yes.
we? Which is a good tea for you, or green tea.
Yes.
Yes.
There we are.
Gosh, you know what? If you ate like this, you're just so healthy here.
You're going to be healthy. You're going to be full. You're going to have energy and all that wonderful stuff.
And so the vegetables are cooking. I have it up at, what did I put it? 320. You can start as high as 325.
Yes.
So tell us why you like Kerry Washington.
I like Kerry Washington because she grew up in, it has a lot of themes that we deal with in the United States. A little girl struggling for who she is.
Yes.
The perfect family from the outside that has challenges on the inside, but they loved each other and they worked it through. She came from immigrant family. We have a lot of immigrants in this country, and immigration is a theme here.
Right.
Her mother started out as a clerk and ended up being a PhD, so perseverance. And Kerry Washington always knew that there was something missing, but she was always told that it was just in her head. And she found out.
She found out this is very important, so listen.
So Scandal, of course, everyone's seen Scandal. At the end of Scandal, everyone's looking for their DNA, their roots. Where do we come from? Everyone's doing that. That's the thing today. She wanted to find out where she came from, so she was going to be on the program Finding Your Roots with Skip Gates, Henry Louis
Yes,
Gates.
Henry, I love that program.
And they sent kits to her parents to do DNA kits. And that's when, her mother
Hold
said,
it.
you got to come over and see it. And so her mother called her and said, please come over. And she knew her mother never did that. Do you want me to say what she found out?
Yes.
She
might as
found
well.
out that her father, her dad, her beloved father, was not her biological father. That in fact, she was a result of a sperm donor.
Yes.
Her parents had a hard time getting pregnant, and so they finally went to a sperm donor. And all the records have been destroyed. She does not know who her biological father is, and that's what was missing.
And that crushed her in the
Yeah.
beginning,
Yes.
and the father.
Her father was destroyed.
Yes.
Yes.
And she still decided, I want to find out if really he might be my father.
Yeah.
There's some small percentage.
Yes. But this is what was so wonderful. Her father felt, she said all along, when she told her father she loved him, he figured, well, you only love me because you think I'm your father. And she went over and said to him, now you know that I love you because you're my dad.
Right.
There's no,
No
ifs, ands, and buts.
roadblocks, no-
I love you because of you.
And I'm sure this is a theme in many families. I
Yes.
can't say that I have sat around a coffee table and talked about it because maybe somebody didn't bring it up.
Right.
But anyway, she's had all this to absorb.
Yes, and a lot of families have secrets.
Oh, this was a secret, and now it's not a secret
Now, it's
anymore.
not a secret.
This sounds like a musical with Jane Powell. It's no secret
She's
anymore.
been liberated. She gets to be Kerry Washington. She
Yes.
doesn't have to lose herself in her characters.
That's right.
And she's
Exactly.
married. She has 3 children. Her parents are still together. It's just really a beautiful American story.
And they worked it out. They talked about it.
Yes.
And so we finished here on time, but we're going to wait a few minutes to get our vegetables out, and we will present our finished meal. We
Yep.
invite you to come and join us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. We'll be right back. Et voila, here is our finished meal, our healthy meal.
Yes, isn't it beautiful?
It is.
Yes.
And why don't you start
Okay.
with what
Well, people
you
are
made.
always concerned about protein. So here's a Japanese yam, which is white on the inside, tofu, which has all kinds of seasonings, and aduki beans, which are small kidney beans. You can't get healthier than that. And then for dessert, beautiful, colorful fruit.
Fresh
Strawberries, blueberries, and mango.
Yeah.
And you can add things to it, but actually it's very sweet. And also oolong tea, which is a black tea.
Here we are.
And it's
no
good for
wine
you.
today.
No wine today. No.
We're
No.
eating responsibly.
That's right.
And healthily today.
That's right. And Kerry Washington would be proud of us.
She would. And I just want to think about her. She wrote this book. We were trying to determine whether she had a ghostwriter, and we think you said
Yeah. She wrote it herself because part of her activism in 2008 with President Obama, she started being active in politics. Again, found something to do outside of acting, always in pursuit of being her authentic self. And so she was active with Obama. But I also wanted to mention that there were 2 kind of times when she was told that she didn't know what she was talking about. One of the times, of course, with the family.
Oh yes,
But
well,
one of the
family
times-
always wants to tell you
Yeah,
that.
but one of the times she had disturbed sleeping, and she just felt that she'd wake up and her clothing would be disheveled. And she thought there was a young man who was bothering her, and she confronted him. He told her she was crazy. So anyway, one time she waited up for him. He tried to bother her again, and she confronted him. And she went to tell her mother, and she decided that telling on him would be more damaging to him than her telling her truth. And she made the conscious decision to keep his secret. But she told him, if you do it again. And even today, she's glad of that decision.
There, see, a strong woman. And
Yes.
here is the final. This is my wonderful vegetable, and I do this roasted vegetable very frequently. It does take chopping, but that's nothing. It really is just roasts all together in a pan. And we have some really good seeded bread.
Yes.
And I understand there are good places in South Bend
Yes.
to buy
Yes.
really good
Yes.
bread. So we are so glad you joined us today, and thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
back.
And we want to remember that blood is thicker than water, but love is thicker than blood.
I've got to think about that. That's great. Thank you, Charlotte.
Yeah.
It was a delight to have you
Oh,
back.
thank you so much. I'm always glad to come.
We're glad to have you. And thank you for watching. Remember, good food, good friends, good books make for a terrific life. We'll see you next time.
This WNIT local production has been made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
Dinner and a Book is supported by the Rex and Alice A. Martin Foundation of Elkhart, celebrating the spirit of Alice Martin and her love of good food and good friends.